All right, man, peace. Yo, brothers, you ever see any of these TV shows about these couples and they tell one another that if they were to come into contact with their favorite celebrity, that they would give their significant other permission to quote-unquote cheat? Why is that? It's because the person in their mind, they're both so enamored by a certain celebrity that they're divesting whatever culpability they would normally have for their significant other in quote-unquote cheating. They're going to divest that culpability for the sake of them having what they call a mulligan. Because sometimes people have such a high level of understanding for the quote-unquote level of lust that their significant other has for a so-called celebrity that they will let them go ahead and do it. Why am I bringing all this up? Because Mr. Jayson Tatum, the small forward of the Boston Celtics, he's come out and stated that even he would understand if the Boston Celtics were to trade him for Anthony Davis. Because that's him saying that Anthony Davis is really what that team needs, even more than him. And he's correct. So anyway, they're going to talk about it. I'm going to chime in.
From the At the Buzzer, appearing on that Celtics Beat podcast, Celtics broadcaster Cedric Maxwell detailed the conversation he had with Jayson Tatum about players the Celtics could include in a possible Anthony Davis deal. Maxwell said Tatum told him, quote, "Yeah, I'd trade me for Anthony Davis too."
I don't blame you, Jayson Tatum, because I trade you also. I'm on record as stating before this season, I thought that Jayson Tatum was one of the most overrated players in the NBA coming into this season. The way that the NBA had hyped him up, I thought the worst thing for him was that he went and worked out with Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant's style of play is a dinosaur style of play. Shooting guards and small forwards are really not allowed to play like that anymore unless they're also ball creators. When we look around the NBA, for the most part, the only small forward who's allowed to ISO is Kevin Durant. They let Tobias Harris also do it. They let Kawhi Leonard do it a little bit as well. But for the most part, threes are not even allowed to ISO that much anymore. And the ones that do it too much are oftentimes on unsuccessful teams like Zach LaVine in Chicago. So it was a mistake for Jayson Tatum. In my view, it was a mistake for him to go and listen to Kobe Bean Bryant too much, because you can't really play like that anymore. The point guards are allowed to dominate the basketball and do whatever the hell they want to do with it, dribble around, take 30 shots a game. The point guard's doing that now. That's why he and Kyrie have been bumping heads so much. Because both of them have Kobe Bryant as their guru. So how's that going to work when you can only have one Kobe-style player on your team at a time? That's why Jayson Tatum wants Kyrie off the team. They're hoping that Kyrie leaves. There are guys on that team who are hoping that Kyrie leaves. They prefer to play with Rozier than Kyrie because they know that Rozier is going to give him the ball. Kyrie wants to pat, and cook people and take their ankles all damn game. And Jayson Tatum knows that in order for himself to become as great a player as he thinks he can be, Kyrie has to go. So that's why he's saying all these things. Deep down, he might not mind getting traded to New Orleans so that he can go down there and really show what he can do or what he's been working on.
That's a real team player. That is amazing.
I respect that. I would trade him. Yeah, I'd trade him for Beyonce.
Anthony Davis, man. Whew. He's one of the great stat stuffers, like natural stat stuffers in the history of the NBA. Like Shannon Sharp said this a while ago. He said that when you look at Anthony Davis's numbers, they're very reminiscent of Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's numbers his first 6 or 7 years with the Milwaukee Bucks. Very similar. A guy averaging in the high 20s, mid-teens for rebounds, 3 blocks a game, somewhere around there, shooting over 50%. Like Anthony Davis is, he's a transcendent player when it comes to stats.
For Beyonce too, whichever one.
All of us, myself included.
Get New Orleans something.
Get information.
Well, look, I don't think there's any question Boston is going to make a play for Anthony Davis this summer. We'll see if the Pelicans can fend that. That's it for today. Thanks to these guys. Thank you, Kemba Walker.
Yes, thank you. But just getting back to the point, we'll see what happens with Mr. Jayson Tatum. They have too many wings anyway. And it's going to come down to who wants to play with Kyrie more. It's going to come down to whether or not Kyrie decides to resign with the team. And Danny Ainge, Brad Stevens, they're going to have to bring their heads together and figure out what the best mix is going to be. But I guarantee you, in order for them to get Anthony Davis, they are going to have to trade Jayson Tatum. They might have to trade Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown. But anyway, peace.